So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and save this file. We didn't go over that in the last video, and you want to make sure you do that often and make sure you don't lose your work. So if you go to the iPro button and go down to the save icon, and you haven't already saved this thing, then it'll pop up this window, and you want to make sure you navigate to your IED folder in the PuzzleCube project. And I have an Inventor Files folder within my PuzzleCube project where I put all my Inventor files, but you can put it in either one. I'm going to go ahead and drop it in my Inventor Files. And you want to make sure that you name your drawing files correctly. Now this may differ slightly from your project sheet depending on which version you have, but your name for your drawing file should be pcube underscore and not the name of the cube or name of the part, but we want it called pcube underscore drawings, then underscore your last name, and then you'll just click the save icon to save it there. I already have a version of this saved elsewhere, so I'm not going to save it, but if you click save, it'll save in that location. So the first thing the next thing we're going to do rather is add dimensions to our part. Now if I look at my hand drawings, I see that I have 2 width, 2 height, and 2 depth dimensions on my green part. So I'm going to go ahead and put in our overall width and then our feature width dimension here as well. So the way that I do that is if I'm in my place views tab here, I'm going to go over to the annotate tab, and then I'm going to select dimension. And then I can select the lines between which I want to add that dimension, so from there to there, and pull up. And what you'll notice is if you get to a certain spot, it's going to have that dotted line. If I zoom in a little bit there, it has the dotted line. That is a recommended position, or it's basically Inventor telling you this is the best position for this dimension. So I'm going to go ahead and left click and add that. And I'm going to go ahead and double click on that, and this is where I could go and edit that dimension. Now you may get this window when you first place a dimension, and if you do, this box down here may be checked. It may be checked and said edit dimension when created. If that is the case and you don't want this window to pop up every time you place a dimension, you can uncheck that and click OK. And one thing to notice is we have our dimension lines, and our extension lines extend down but do not touch the part, and that's extremely important, one thing we talked about with our hand drawings. So we want to go ahead and go in and add our overall dimensions, but if I select down here at the bottom and drag up, and let's see if I can find a recommended position. There's one, and I'll place that. Once I have that position placed, if I zoom in here, and you'll notice that I don't have a gap between my extension line and my part, and that's because I selected it to dimension this line down here at the bottom, so it's extending that dimension line all the way down to here. So instead of extending that extension line rather all the way down to here. So I don't want that. So if I hit escape to get it, I'm still in my dimension command. If I hit escape to get out of that dimension command, you see it's not highlighted anymore. And I left click on my dimension and hit the delete key on the keyboard. I can get rid of that. And now I'll go take my dimension and I will select this line up here up top and then this line over here and drag that up until I get that snap point. And then if I zoom in, you'll notice that my extension lines are where they're supposed to be. Now if I go back to my drawing, I'm going to go ahead and put in my height dimensions here. And one other way of doing these dimensions, I have this overall height and then the one feature dimension. One other way of doing this instead of doing individual dimensions is I can use this baseline command, and then I can just select from line to line, right click and hit continue, and it'll automatically create my dimensions for me. And that way they'll space them properly, and I can just hit click and then it'll add them. Now notice that I also once again had this extension line that is not gapped properly. So if I hit the escape key, get rid of those, I'm going to use baseline. I'm going to try to select there, there, and there. Right click continue. And it's still giving me a little trouble there. So I may actually still go in and use my individual dimension line here. Go from there to there. And add that, and that gives me my proper extension line. And then I can go and actually let me escape there. I want to do my dimension with my overall dimension to the outside. And then I'm going to go over and select the dimension command again, and I'm going to put in my overall dimension, selecting from there to there. And I'm going to drag that out until it snaps into the recommended position and click there. And then I'm going to go up and add my overall depth dimensions as well, which is at 1.5 and that 0.75. I'll minimize that. Do my overall dimension first. My extension lines have the gap, which is good. And then I'll add that same one for my feature dimension until that snaps there. And then I have fully dimensioned this. Now what I can also do is escape out of the dimension command, and I can come in and move this to place it properly because I placed it in the wrong spot. So if I just escape out of the dimension command and then click and hold, I can slide this until it gets to the dotted place where it recommends that you place it. And then once you do that, you just repeat this for each of your drawings over here and create all your dimensions for all your drawings. And then if you would like to clean this up a little bit on this side, if you hit this minus button next to the green, I can hide everything that's included in there, all my views and my IPT files, and then just double click on orange to go to orange and start placing my part by going up to place views and using the base command.